approaching.
You know,
The clouds are approaching.
Hey folks, I'm Mysterious
I'm
JG.
Bobo the Vulture.
Welcome back to Let's Play Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. This guy's been saluting for hours as we watched and ate, watched Lucha and ate
Yep,
food and drank tea and Princess Tomato and Salad Kingdoms. So
just a
this
little bit
guy's
of
been
that.
patiently saluting this whole time.
Boss, you have to. Boss, thank you for rescuing me, Percy. Um,
Converts 22 recruits to join for the parade.
yeah. Yeah, just alright. I just, had the "Here's to You" song in my head there, and
Yep.
it's, funny enough, I remember when you first picked up the PS4, it was the first time I got to see, or no, it was the first time I got to see the introduction on Ground Zeroes. And,
Yeah.
they had the whole sequence where he's getting in the helicopter, and the helicopter's taking off and flying off,
Staff
and I was like, wow,
assigned.
this is all really, like,
Pretty badass,
this is
yeah.
pretty badass and interesting, and, like, the graphics look great, and it's all atmospheric and everything. I don't really know about this Skullface guy, though. I hope he's just, like, like a filler-in, like, villain of the day for this, like, short mini-sode thing that is Ground
Nah.
Zeroes.
Please
Big
select a
freaking
mission.
deal, dude.
He is a BFD, apparently. He is the BFD!
And Skullface has occupied the secret Soviet weapon design bureau. Okay, oh, you don't want to do that, buddy. I might keep you there for hours. So look at me.
Having a conversation with yourself, soldier.
What's wrong? Well, I just mean he looks more like a wolf to me.
That's crazy talk. He's a dog. You hear me? A dog.
So
A
think he's
dog
He's a
over
dog.
here.
What's important is he's one of us.
You know what's fantastic about this is if you go up and check who my character is, my first language is probably Kikongo. But he's a dog.
He's a dog. So I'm just thinking, did any of these that we haven't listened to, because you got to listen to all the yellow
The yellow
ones
tapes, the
to
blood tapes.
to get like the final ultimate thing.
I think there is a little a dot, like a lit up dot next to ones that you haven't seen. Yeah.
Here we go. So let's listen to some of this.
Listen to
About
this.
the pathogen spreading through Mother Base.
Yeah.
You've seen everything we've got on the outbreak. What's your opinion?
Textbook symptoms of vocal cord parasite
Take a show. I'll listen
infestation.
to this.
And judging from this casualty list,
Kikongoid.
it is the Kikongo strain,
Congo right
meaning a breed of parasite that triggers symptoms upon detecting pronunciation specific to Kikongo. So our Kikongo-speaking staff are at risk. Quite so.
He's right. All the victims do speak Kikongo.
So they can survive if they just use another language. There is no guarantee. You're only dealing with the Kikongo strain.
Well, let's assume that for
Other
fun.
language strains may be present. You well know he was teaching them languages from all over the world.
What a jerk teaching
The
people
Devil's
languages.
House.
The
In
Devil's
Zoya
Desert.
Badia Bulu.
Sounds pretty
There
neat.
is no way to know how many strains he has at his disposal.
Of course, if he
How do we
keeps
keep them from
straining
becoming
like that,
symptomatic?
he may develop
using
hemorrhoids. Okay.
Use this,
Then he
Keep going
points
to
his crotch.
the type of Wolbachia,
Caution.
introduced to a sample of the parasite.
Wolbachia.
A parasitic bacteria that colonizes the parasites, turning male to female and preventing copulation. You must
Oh, like
cultivate
BO.
more. What have you done with the infected bodies?
Look what they've
Cremated
done with
to
my
stop the
infected
spread of
bodies.
infection. But we did keep a few for study.
For fun.
Good. Take this sample, grind it to a pulp, and introduce it to the larvae now nesting in the dead.
It won't do anything. I just want to see if you'll do
will
it.
multiply rapidly within those larvae. They're soldiers, not some petri dish. Conventional cultivation methods will take too long. Extract the Wolbachia from those larvae and vaccinate your men. Kikongo speakers first. This is the fastest, surest.
That's
way.
not how you vaccinate
No
people,
one
Snake.
can speak a word of Kikongo until the Wolbachia are safely
But Wolbachia is a Kikongo word.
No, you're safe.
instruct your medical staff in detail on site.
You
You have the appropriate facilities, yes, but do not worry. I made a pact with your bit de Holone on the honor of the Dene.
Huh?
I speak no lies.
And no
Keep an eye on
Kakongo.
him.
Will do. Follow me.
Oh,
I'll
except
take you
for
to the medical team.
Balundabadididine.
Now,
You noticed you were about to walk through a pit. You were like, whoop.
in the larvae.
How is the disease transmitted? If it's carried by insects or rodents, then...
There is
Great video.
no intermediate host.
So...
The vocal cord parasites
Your men have all had sex with these parasites.
of the host
While speaking sweet pillow talk in Kakongo.
lungs, but some are transported to the mouth through ciliary movement, mixing in with saliva. Droplet transmission.
sneezing, coughing.
Stuff he
Any
hit
food or
feet.
water containing
So you can
infected
rip.
saliva. It would spread fast.
Indeed.
Take these
And when the
Bukovia
larvae migrate
Congo
into the
larvae
lungs,
and it'll fix your flu symptoms.
resemble the early stages of a cold,
Oh, I see.
making it easy to infect others.
Meaning a simple conversation would be enough to pass it on.
Yes. And while you may feel better,
The larvae
it will not actually treat you to take Kakongo Quill.
As I said before, they mature by feeding on alveolar tissue. It is only then that noticeable symptoms appear in the host.
And by
And
that
you're
point,
like hitting the
you've
action button,
he's
hoping that you'll be
infected
able to
everyone else.
hop
One
from
hell
one
of
to
a
the other.
weapon you've created.
That is what Blagamana wanted. Something that would spread easily.
Balagabana.
Oh, he should have gotten some. Should have
Peanut
gotten
butter.
some Nutella. Yeah.
He's not the reason,
For the season. That's
but
Jesus.
we will discuss that.
On the next cassette tape.
The Walbaki
Okay,
have
this is
all
another
arrived.
time.
We're preparing to
I don't know why I
examine
introduced this tape that way.
Is this really the only way? Sure, it'll prevent infection, but the cost. You would rather remove their vocal cords? No.
Yeah.
Tactical communication's the linchpin of what we do.
What if we were to ban
But
the use
knocking
of the
boots.
Congo?
Insufficient. First, there's no guarantee that only the Kikongo strain is here.
Breaker.
There is the matter of how the parasites lay their eggs. Before they
Inside
can
your soldiers'
copulate,
jimmies.
they must be exposed to the pronunciation of a specific language for a period of time,
Mm-hmm.
like a container filling with water.
Like the Star Trek School of Inaccurate
Between when the
Scientific
container is full,
Metaphors.
the copulation actually begins.
Like putting too much air in a balloon.
In other words, even if the infected stop speaking as a countermeasure,
Which
it
Which
may
one are you
already
going? Which
be too late.
new platform do you want to
The
go
only
to?
true solution
You gonna check
is
out what
prevent
quiet looks
copulation
like in the
through
rain?
Wallachia,
Oh, well, I'm
or
not
by
really. I'm
physically
just
removing the
driving
infected
around
tissue.
until we're done listening to tapes.
Any
Like,
antiparasitics work. It sounds as though you have already tried.
well,
Yeah.
no,
We tried every one there is, and
they don't
nothing.
work.
I have yet to find a medicine that can remove the parasites.
Maybe some
At best,
fighting
it
cock,
temporarily
whiskey,
covers their ears.
100
Why
proof,
is
you know.
that?
Because the parasites are
La la la, not listening to you.
to
The
remove them inevitably
parasites are.
harms the host
Please insert the next cassette.
more than you think.
Like
This is
Zoe.
why the human immune system cannot eliminate them.
Whoa, 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 wait a second. You mean I'm out of cassette tapes? No way.
You know, it would be, in theory, like, if you misinterpreted, like, safe driving, like, rules and things like this, that might be what you would actually do. But it's funny to think that, you know, if you just finished a CD or a cassette in your car, you just slammed on the brakes to safely pull out, you check the tape and get another one.
Them from becoming symptomatic.
Wolbachia Bank paid heavily for this product placement.
And then they
How
got
did this
purchased by
happen in
Wells
the first
Fargo.
place?
It has to have been a cipher spy within our ranks.
There's a Wells Fargo wagon is
then why
coming
did
down the
they
platform.
If their intent was to wipe you out,
Skullface said the remaining English parasite was close to the boss.
You mean
If this
Big
latest
Boss?
strain was his doing, he wouldn't have tipped his hand.
It is possible someone brought eggs onto the base without knowing. Stuck to their shoes, clothing.
Now, that makes the most sense to me.
You got
Where did
plenty
the
of
eggs
orders,
come from?
pal.
You mentioned that your boss
Anytime someone creeps up to me, I assume they're gonna die for it.
But his gear's disinfected immediately upon return.
Then he was not the carrier.
Interesting.
And not just the
But
boss.
stupid.
All staff dispatched to high-risk regions were quarantined on the flight back. When the symptoms first appeared, we checked and disinfected all equipment used up to that point. Any and all prisoners, soldiers, materials, and animals extracted during
Shutting down
missions were
everybody's
also
cable.
quarantined.
What are you doing, Snake?
That just leaves.
I have seen children around here.
Oh yeah.
Where are they from?
Rando kids.
All over.
Oh, Cotton Eye
Some were
Joe,
being held
that's a great
hostage in
question.
the mud. Then there were the troublemakers at Walla Yamasa.
Wala Yamasa.
You
Yeah.
idiots.
Their clothes, their things. Did you burn them?
They're just kids. We couldn't.
Burn kids.
And besides, not one of them's shown symptoms.
The parasites don't infect prepubescent hosts.
They're pervs, but they're not
Their
that pervy.
vocal cords are not fully developed.
Oh, there's a
Well,
diamond,
if
but
infection
how do
doesn't
you get
occur
there?
in children,
It is possible they carried eggs on their clothes, and the infection spread from them.
check the kid's stuff.
Great.
I doubt
Quick,
there is
run
a
as
trace
quickly as
of it by
possible
now.
towards what you
And if there
believe to
is,
be infected
some of those
eggs.
kids must be close to hitting puberty. How could we have missed this?
We're kind of dumb.
The name Walla Yamasa got quite a reaction from you. I'm guessing the Kakongo strain was released in that
Good
village.
Congo worker.
Cypher used that region to experiment with vocal cord parasite transmission. The Kakongo strain.
I
The
didn't think I was gonna let go,
settlements
but
around the
okay.
refinery upstream of Wala Yamasa were the proving grounds. They would infect one villager and record transmissions.
You know, boss is like
And
even
then that
during even when
villager-
this conversation was being recorded, he was like crawling
They
around.
failed to contain the infection.
Then that villager would tell their friends,
The surrounding
and that villager would tell their
At which
friends.
point the
That's so
world
hard.
found out about the parasites, making them useless as a
Wait,
weapon.
how would finding out about the weapon make it
Incredible they
useless?
risk such a thing.
The test site was densely populated too. A terrible place for such experiments.
I don't know, makes it sound like it'd be a pretty great place to find out how well it's
Burning
transmitted.
Everything would wipe away all traces. The settlements were covered in oil anyway. Who would wonder if one day they caught fire? And so it did.
And so it came to pass that the Countess, who slept in the rejuvenating blood of 100 virgins,
100
But
kids
they
speak the Congo.
miscalculated. Transmission speed was far faster than anticipated.
they had one of those dual
It may
sequential
have been the
gearbox
temperature,
transmissions.
or
Premature
hygiene
transmission.
standards, or perhaps the parasites reacted quickly to Kikongo.
It's the sexiest
Whatever the
language of
reason,
all.
Nearly all villages were swiftly infected,
Swift boat
and the
infected.
settlements
John
reduced
Kerry
to
did it.
mounds of corpses.
Where, oh where
Making
are
matters
all
worse,
the
the dry
corpses?
season was ending. When it came time to burn the village, the Moneni River had swelled. Many of the bodies were waterlogged.
Oh, they
Meaning they
swelled? I
didn't
thought
burn
these kids were
completely.
prepubescent.
The corpses still contained viable eggs, and the larvae washed downstream. And when the
It's almost
people
like they lost
downstream
control of their
drank that
biological
water,
weapon.
That marked the end for Walla Yamasa.
I learned all of this at the mansion. I warned
The
him of the
Playboy
risk
Mansion.
of eggs
Hef knew a
getting
lot
out.
about it for some reason.
We are
Hefner's
prepared for
plan
any
to rule the
eventuality.
world through hot chicks
I get
and
it.
Congo killers.
Putting the oil field back online. The oil leaks, saner. They planned to pollute the river, prevent the spread of infection. But the oil flow was stopped, and downstream the people of Masa village started using the water again. The PF soldiers deployed at the village were locals, spoke Kikongo. They were infected, and the kids survived. I've heard enough. And who stopped the flow of oil? Don't. We did.
That confirms it.
You guys are the
The
killers.
Congo strain infection was Masa village.
No.
and the children brought it here.
Shut up.
It is no one's fault. There is no blame to be cast.
Except on the kids. I
The
mean, pretty
parasites,
clearly.
They were tested in other regions?
Their physiology requires that they be tested under varied conditions.
Doesn't
Well,
answer my question.
As I say, they should have tested the DeLorean in a variety of conditions,
So
but
it
no.
was the
And then
parasites there.
freezing weather
Both
stuck
the
their
Pashto
thumbs.
and Tajik languages are spoken in the mountains of Afghanistan,
And Dari.
and population density is low.
We're here for you.
Ideal testing
I'm
grounds
giving you a
for
warning.
either parasite
You should
or
see this coming, even if you're turned that way.
language. It is also relatively easy to prevent the spread of infection.
And the results?
The first test, I am told, was a success. One
But I
of
was
the
told
Pashto
in
were
Congo,
fighting
so I died.
were infected with the Pashto strain. They were all but wiped out.
The Hamid fighters, this must say for
Yeah, they did, in fairness, raise this plot question earlier. How come all these guys died and there's no sign of,
Soldiers became
you know,
symptomatic.
biological weapons?
So the parasites proved to be effective. What about the second test?
What about it?
Also supposedly a success. A Pashtun village was the target. However,
You're hoping to get him less translucent, but still looking right at us. That's true. You keep doing this forward, you may eventually like dive off of an
Yeah.
open space into
standard scorched earth operation.
That must have been the village where Malak lived, before being held captive at
Truth.
Labahate Palace.
Having had more time to think on it, the details shared with me may have been false.
from the past, Solid
They are madmen who would do anything to cover up the truth.
They certainly
Republicans.
seem to like
I wonder if
tossing
there's
their
still time in
problems
this
the
story
fire.
for me to become a snatcher.
As a boy, Skullface's life went up in flames.
Oh, Skullface backstory.
Perhaps that is what fuels his fixation with fire.
But we'll discuss that in a future tape.
Your Wolbachia stopped the infection all right, but I still don't get it.
Well,
How
good,
can it
because
take
it's
bacteria
infectious.
from males to females? I know they're only bugs, but
It is
That's
not
true,
such
maybe
a
we
rare
should set
thing
up
in the
a,
natural world.
Well, I want to
Many
pause this just for a moment so we can check on. I don't want. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know if it'll be interrupted by us checking on him, but since it just started, it won't hurt to. Won't hurt anything if it was.
Saxon nematodes are infected with Wolbachia.
but why?
We should
They
probably set up
nest
some
in
missions
the
too.
cell cytoplasm.
Oh yeah. The what do you call them?
Outer
The deployments. Yeah.
deployments, yeah.
Outer ops. Outer heaven. Oh wow, it's cinematic. I wasn't expecting a cinematic.
I think, isn't it always cinematic when you walk in and it pans over to him and he's like, hey?
Oh, well, I thought. Okay, I guess it was just. I didn't remember seeing Big Boss in the cinematic.
Although, yeah, it does
This is
appear to be
more
getting
involved,
more
yeah.
advanced. Hey, this is that thing that you've not been using at all.
Now this is Battle Gear. This is like bottle cut. It's advanced.
That is exactly what it's like. This is like that
Whoa,
bonus game in
Art
Art
of
of Fighting,
Fighting.
where you get more spirit energy if you complete it. Taking this thing out without trinket, it's gonna be a pain in the ass.
How the hell did you get up there?
Well, presumably through that door.
Through this door.
Yeah.
Battle Gear.
Yeah.
Battle Gear, as near as I can tell, another thing that he was going to incorporate, and Konami told him his time was up. I don't remember Battle Gear ever doing anything really. I guess we'll see.
Oh gosh, no.
We could hope to like ride around in Battle Gear and fight with it, and
I don't know how I don't know how I feel now about starting to realize that apparently
the game just kind of
that there's
he
a
ran
lot
out of time.
a lot of shit that just gets sort of
There's some kind of cold, yeah. But this stuff with the Wolbachia will all get resolved. Don't you worry.
okay.
Wolbachia stopped the infection all right, but I still don't get it.
Well, good,
How can a
because
few bacteria
D-Dog.
change
Hey,
males to
D-Dog.
females? I know they're only bugs, but
It is not such a rare
Um,
thing.
Oh shit!
no,
Trying trying to pet D-Dog.
Insects and nematodes are infected with Wolbachia.
but why?
Triangle to climb back up.
They nest in
Okay.
the cell cytoplasm of the host, even in the egg cells, with the result that the offspring are born infected.
Mother-to-child transmission.
Is only a moment away.
Cannot nest in sperm because
I
they
thought
do
D-Dog
not
was
have
gonna phase through the railing and
Even
fall
a
to his death for a
successful
second.
infection of a male ends after a single generation. This means the Wolbachia
Now, this
must
does
resort
mean
to
that apparently the phrase
maximizing
good
the
dog
population
takes
of
precedence
Yes.
over whatever's being said.
Sounds like an ethnic cleansing campaign on a tiny scale.
Sounds like a pretty neat thing to
change
me.
from male to female is their
Epic
survival
cleansing,
tactic.
cool.
So more females means more Wolbachia carriers, so it can keep thriving in the following generations.
There he is.
But the parasites in a human host are supposed to be a mating pair. If there's no male, there'll be no offspring at all. It's killing itself.
How will they learn how to
Slow
be
down.
men if they don't have fathers? Slow your
This
roll.
tactic
Play
is
out.
intended for environments where a single male can copulate with multiple females. Originally, the Wolbachia did not infect the vocal cord parasites. I created a mutated strain, modifying the Wolbachia so that it could infect monogamous pairs. Wolbachia's greatest
Monogamous.
multiplying tactic, the male-to-female
It uses
change,
its times
worked against
tables.
itself in the monogamous parasites.
Monogamous.
Just as you said. Then I performed
Sorry, it's not making
repeated
sense.
selection of Wolbachia strains until I achieved 100% certainty of male-to-female conversion.
Creating female-female pairs, unable to reproduce.
But capable of
And
purchasing
you say the
Subarus.
Wolbachia affects the host of the host. That is,
The
us,
host with the most.
cutting off our means to reproduce.
It is
Who
almost
turned this
certain.
back on?
Of course, we will not turn female.
Thanks for saving energy, boss.
Mammals possess no natural gender-changing function.
Take that back. I have the right to be
Can cause
what I want to be, whatever my body started out as.
incompatibility in the host.
Dang.
Is that some cell deformity?
Put simply,
Oh man,
it
it's
means
just a mole.
the altered
Quit looking at it.
sperm of infected males kill the female's egg on contact.
And that's happened to us.
Yes.
I
And
probably
yet,
should have mentioned that before I
what
shot you
occurs
full of
in
this stuff.
humans is not just simple CI. To date, there are no cases of Wolbachia affecting humans. The fact that this strain causes this effect, is it the vocal cord parasite's affinity with humans?
Here he comes. Nope. She's gonna hang up there.
I do not know enough to say for
He
sure.
apparently just gets to hang out on that
So the
platform.
parasite warps the host.
To level 4-1.
It is the way of all organisms to create their own optimal environment.
It sure is.
Just look at you and this space.
See?
Organisms that
This
cannot
is
do
totally
this are
optimal.
doomed
I mean, you built
to
yourself a giant floating
different
Dairy Queen.
parasites. Their
That's a good
environment
point.
is another organism that creates a connection between life and life.
And life.
Parasitism, symbiosis, or death.
Those are your choices. Which do you take?
Challenge to adapt.
But I'm the host with the most. We're basically ignoring the overarching plot and just dropping random dumbass puns. Sahelanthropus.
Well, alright, okay, I'll be 0.
About
Okay,
this
B0.
OKB-0 Emmerich was talking about. Its location and features match the citadel in
We
the mountains
established that
northeast of the
Emmerich was a
Soviet base
traitor
camp.
at this point,
Built
or
during the time of Alexander
he's-
the Great, it was left in
because he didn't
ruins
tell us about this
following one of
base
Genghis
until
Khan's campaigns.
Yeah.
Its occupants changed time and again
Also
due to
combat
war,
assignments.
and it was expanded on more than one occasion. Ultimately,
yes.
it fell into the hands of the Soviet philosophers. The Soviet army was using it as the
headquarters of its Afghan invasion force. But it would seem that Skullface's connection with the philosophers gave him license to develop Sahelanthropus there. And that's what Emmerich was doing at the place, before he got the axe. But
And the Smasher.
OKB is a designation the Soviets use for weapon design bureaus. There's no way they'd have one of those in Afghanistan. And in principle, the numbers that follow OKB are always integers above 1. There is no 0.
Dispatched.
Perhaps this was a secret facility of the Soviet and Chinese philosophers.
Or
dating
somebody's
back
trying to
prior
use their
World War
nomenclature
II.
and fucked it up.
Though it's more likely Skullface just picked a fake name that more or less fit the Soviets' pattern. He doesn't go there often, but he sure as hell won't miss this. They use the heliport on top of the tower for his visits. Start by heading for the heliport,
We can have
then
more
wait for
teams
your
out at
chance
once.
to make contact with Skullface.
Contact.
It seems Sahelanthropus's armor is made from depleted uranium. That offers some serious protection. The U.S. military is planning on using it for its main battle tanks, too. Maybe that's where Emmerich got the technology.
Uranium.
He has the
They're
technology.
using nuclear fuel for armor now.
No.
What the fuck,
What they
man?
use for nuclear fuel is uranium-235, which is extracted from natural uranium. Depleted uranium is a byproduct of that process. Sort of like the leftovers, I guess. The garbage. Uranium-235 makes up 0.72% of natural uranium, whereas depleted uranium contains only 0.2%.
What are
Now,
the
this
benefits
depleted
of using it for
uranium,
armor?
when
It's a
soldiers are
pretty short
exposed to
list.
it,
Uranium's a
does
heavy metal, like lead. Meaning
give
it can
some
hold a
variety
greater
of
amount
side
kinetic
symptoms
energy.
that seem
But
like
it also boasts a hard
disorders
disk
from
closer to
genome
tungsten.
activity.
That makes it an
Right.
ideal material to use for,
This is a cover
say,
story from the Pentagon.
armor-piercing ammunition penetrators. But it's not the best choice for armor. Its volume is less
Best
than
choice
that
for
of
armor is
ceramics,
gold.
but for an equal weight, you could end up with
This makes
less
you look
protection.
cool.
So why use it then?
According
Stop
to
doing that,
Emmerich,
JJ.
it came down to him being unable to source ceramics technology from a manufacturer. Plus, given that it's an upright walking vehicle, he wanted to reduce the bulk of certain areas. Despite all that, depleted uranium still makes for some tough armor.
Because these
And Emmerich
upright
says it's
walking
been
vehicles
proven in
are
live
really
fire.
they're
Stops
really
most Soviet
sensitive about
tank
their
shells.
figures.
So if you go back and listen carefully to what he said, he explained that this is a really stupid material to make an armor out of, but why are we using it? Oh, because it's a walking robot. It's like, no,
Yeah.
there's no good reason for this. Getting close to being done with a video's worth of listening to tapes. I think. Depends on how many each of these has.
Go, Doc.
Who are the
What are the
Mythbusters, and
Metallic
what
Arcade?
are Metallic Arcade?
Volcanic craters, spewing sulfur,
Pretty sweet.
water hot enough to boil your skin off,
You mean boiling water?
ocean depths of 800 plus atmospheres.
All are unrelated to
Land
Metallic
radioactive
Arcade.
enough to kill you where you stand.
Oh, you mean like the glowing
There are
sea in
groups
Fallout
of
4?
organisms that
I was gonna
survive
say, so
despite
pretty much all of the areas, or all of the ways that they use to keep you from going into certain areas in Fallout games.
I've heard about them. Extremo
Extreme games.
Extremophiles. By
Oh,
selecting
extremophiles
certain
are people who
species,
participate in the X Games.
subculturing,
Oh, it's like
and
Extreme
repeatedly
Dragon.
modifying
You team up with
No, Extreme
on-
Tiger.
Extreme Tiger. Yeah, he teamed up with Angelico and
No, and
They
Halico teamed up with
subsist
some
on
dude whose
metals,
name I've forgotten, and that
matter,
that guy also
organic
teamed up with
matter.
Extreme Tiger.
Inside
I don't know of any
even
connection between
consumed
Halico and
uranium.
Extreme Tiger.
Yes.
Get it straight.
Uranium enrichment archaea metabolize only uranium-235.
It's
As
the
a
nerd
result,
soldier.
they produce weapons-grade
Give me a
enriched
bunch of money.
uranium. How is that possible? Consider how plants fractionate carbon isotopes when they conduct photosynthesis. Nature possesses abilities beyond our imagination.
Well, maybe beyond
So
your
it was
imagination.
archaea that brought down your chopper? Corrosive archaea, yes. They oxidize metals, feeding off the energy in the electrons they receive. What became of the wreckage? We had the R&D team retrieve samples for study in airtight plastic containers, of course. Prudent. We shall extract archaea from it in good time.
Great.
Good
It will
times.
help you fight back against Black Ana. Any chance we could start now? It doesn't have to be a lot.
And what the hell does
I might just
Bokugana
have
mean?
another use for them. If it's only a small amount you need.
Oh yeah, just a
That's
couple
fine.
I'll get the
Whoa.
R&D team to assist.
Just a couple of RK. I don't need that many.
Ocelot, you want to share with the rest of the class what your plans are?
That's really not how I roll.
Conspicuous presence at the UN because of apartheid and its armed expansionism. But when neighboring Angola and Mozambique became socialist countries in '74, South Africa felt hounded into a corner.
No,
Had to produce great superstars like Angelico.
To protect itself. 3 years later, the Soviets discovered a test facility, and 2 years after that, an American satellite observed a flash in the southern Indian Ocean. It said this was South Africa conducting a nuclear test with the help of a certain ally. Skullface used the situation in South Africa to get this ally to lend a hand. They both wanted nukes, so it was a mutually beneficial relationship. On the surface, anyway.
I figure South Africa started getting serious about nuclear weapons production in '75. In '74, the
Wait,
government was
75?
still able to get by with bluffing that it had a nuclear arsenal. But the year after, word spread that an independent armed group in the Caribbean was crushed by Cypher for possessing a WMD. That's right,
What are you
boss.
talking about? What?
What happened to you and your men was the reason South Africa decided to push ahead with nuclear development.
Well,
It's your fault.
You're assuming that I played that game, huh?
On a nuke. That was a threat to the existence of countries everywhere.
Not only that I played that game, but that I continued on with the game long enough, doing side missions after what appeared to be the main plot was over, to find out that actually we had to go fight, what's her name?
Otherwise, you're playing this game wondering the whole time where Paz is. Assuming you also skipped Ground Zero.
Whatever supplies you need,
Close.
just let us know, boss.
You're gonna go off the dude. Gonna try and go off the top of that guy.
There's another.
Boss, we really need some more room.
You deserve that. No, most of these guys pretty much don't deserve it.
Thank you, boss.
Yes!
Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! It's awesome!
Alright. So I think
like
we got
one
one
more
more
to
tape,
say,
and then I don't even know whose turn it is, but I spent this whole video just wandering around the base, which should probably give you a chance to do something or something.
legs of his own design.
Yep.
It's bionics technology, a product of the U.S. military's failed attempt to develop a powered exoskeleton. All the wearer has to do is apply a
And he
little
flies
force,
under the ring.
and the actuators continue the movement in that direction. But his legs are unique. Instead of using a hydraulic mechanism, the actuators run off metallic archaea. That increases the actuator's reaction speed and also enables him to lock and release the joints at will.
He kinda just sort of nicked his ankle
with
there.
it there, yeah.
Two clear weaknesses. First, they're dependent on external power. Maybe because he built them knowing he couldn't leave his lab. There's no internal battery. That's why they won't work if they aren't plugged in. Second, and this is more than just a weakness, the legs are directly connected to his bones. Could be to minimize signal loss and the order's output to the legs and the drive response from them. Either way, Emmerich has used bolts to attach load-bearing parts directly to his femurs. Probably by
Beats me
mimicking
delivered by
surgical treatment for compound fractures.
D-Dog, explaining
His
this.
legs and his body are fused together. And that appears to be how he's able
Good,
to move them
good
so
dog.
precisely. But that also means that any shock to the legs would be delivered right to his bones by way of those bolts. The same is true if he encounters the corrosive metallic archaea. If the corrosive archaea ate into the exposed bolts, they'd reach the endoskeleton
There you
parts
go.
and eat through them too in the blink of an eye. The doctor's bones are full of holes to accommodate all the bolts. They're like
Okay.
sponges. If he were to lose the
I
rivet
win.
part, even the tiniest bit of force or weight would snap his bones. So when I dangled those corrosive metallic archaea in front of him, he realized straight away what would happen. Life wouldn't
Now,
be worth
don't.
living if he lost those
It wouldn't
legs of
be, yeah.
his. I'd bet that is what the doctor fears the most. I just helped him imagine what it would be like. Thanks to that, I got the information we needed without either of us getting hurt. You know how he is.
Roger.
He's probably already over the shock.
He's
The
a
better
hardy
you know
guy.
your adversary, the easier it is for you to get information from them. And vice versa.
the easier it is to get information out of someone.
On station at LC.
Good dog. You just wait there while I pet my dog some more. Hand the controller over to Bobo, and we're gonna call it a video. So yeah, folks, that was basically a entirely flat catching up video. But when we come back, it's time to go after Skullface himself at OKZB0 whatever.
The OKZB Corral.
It's the right thing to do. So I'm the Mysterious JG.
I'm Bobo the
I
Vulture.
want to thank you guys very much for watching. We'll hope you'll join us next time for what's starting to feel like we're heading towards the conclusion of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain.
Man. Alright, bye.
Boy. Oh, it's so sad, I know. Don't worry, we can always go on the multiplayer and have all of our resources stolen.
Right.
Bye-bye.